I had a lady call me when I lived in Georgia. She said, I heard that you help people with drug problems. I said, well, I try to do what I can. And she said, my son's in jail right now. This is not the first time, but he's in jail right now. And I said, I had this guy in town ask me for money. I was at the local grocery store, and my wife had gone in, and I was talking to some people from our church outside the door, and she went in to shop because we were kind of in a rush. And she knows if she stood around with me, I'd be talking to them forever. So I was talking, I saw this guy that I knew walk across the parking lot, and then he saw me, made eye contact with me, and all of a sudden he came walking over to me. And after these folks left, he said to me, he said, hey, Brian, I need $20. He goes, I'm at the gas station over there. My checkbook is always in the glove compartment. He said, but my wife must have taken it out. I have no money to pay for gas. Can I borrow $20? I'll give it to you tomorrow. I said, sure. I gave him the $20. I went into the grocery store and I told my wife what just happened. I said, it's strange. Like, I feel like something's going on. Like somehow this is going to come back to me. But I didn't know how. So a couple days went by. I didn't see this guy. You know, he said he was going to meet me over at the local coffee shop. I never saw him. And then I asked the owner of the coffee shop, who was a friend of mine, I said, have you seen this guy? Has he come in? He goes, nope, I haven't seen him. And so I thought, that's odd. And so I just felt this urge to track him down. I had no clue what was going on in his life. I just knew something was up. You ever had that feeling? Something's up. Something's happening. That's why you got to be ready, because God will use you in these ways. And this is. I'm going to close with this story, because this is how you and I, the recipients of this peace, the recipients of this life that God, the recipients of this ability to rejoice now because we know who God is and our sins have been forgiven. With this ability, we are proclaiming the truth, proclaiming God's peace, proclaiming the gospel of Jesus Christ, bringing it to people. And I found his home phone number, and I called, left a couple messages. Nobody ever called me back. And then I called again one day. I just said, I'm just going to call the home number. And I kept calling the home number. And finally, this woman picks up, and she goes, yes. And I said, hey, this is Brian McCrae, and his name's Danny. He loves to tell the story now, but he goes, yeah, this is Danny. Does he owe you money? The wife said. And I said, well, he actually does, but that's actually why I'm not calling because of that. I could care less about the $20. I just got this feeling something's going on. I need to talk to him. That's why I've been harassing your phone, calling so much. And she goes, well, we've been separated for a year. She goes, he's really messed up on crack cocaine. And so he's not allowed to be in our house anymore. I said, okay. Well, I'll be praying for him. Hope I run into him. And I said to her, I know a lot of people who are in the same condition he is, and I know that God can change people's lives. And she's pretty much like, whatever. Hung up the phone. So this lady calls me. She goes, my son's in jail. He's addicted to drugs. I can hardly let him in my house. I don't know what to do with him. I just thought, is your son Danny? And she goes, yeah, how did you know that? I said, just a guess. You can say it's a coincidence. You can say that this guy at the right time was walking by across this parking lot in Toccoa, Georgia at a grocery store, and I just happened to be lingering outside and caught eyes with him, and he came and talked to me. God had set up the stage that this guy even knew me through other things that I don't have the time to go into. I said, I'm going to help him. I said, I think this is providence. God set this whole thing up. I said, so I'm going to send you something. What I'd like you to do is you fill out this paperwork. I said, but do not go inside that jail and do not bail him out, please. Whatever you do, trust me on this. I'm going to go. I'm going to meet you. I'm going to take the paperwork and I'm going to go visit with him. They like me at the jail. They let me in. I can talk to anybody I want to. So she said, okay. She meets me outside. I had an application for Teen Challenge that I had her fill out for him. And I went in, and this big tall guy, he's like 6'3", 6'4", and he's got orange, and, he's chained up, and they bring him out to talk to me. Right here he comes out to talk to me. And in the South, when you're a pastor, in the South, they don't call you pastor, minister, or reverend. They call you preacher. This guy looks at me, he sees me, and he goes, "Preacher, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And then I looked at him and I said, "Hey man, I came to get my money. Where's my $20?" I got lots of icebreakers with people. So my wife says, "I can't believe you can get away with that kind of stuff. Like, you say stuff, I could never get away with saying what you say." Anyhow, so I said, "Where's my money?" He kind of chuckled to himself, and I said, "What do you need, Danny?" He goes, "Preacher, at this point, I just know I need Jesus." That's what he said. I said, "Okay." So I spent some time with him, talked to him. I said, "I need you to fill out this application. I'm going to go to your parole officer. I'm going to talk to him." I said, I've got a relationship with him. And I said, "I'm going to send you to Teen Challenge in Middle Georgia. I've got friends there. We've got like 4 guys from our church who graduated from that program. I'm going to send you down there. I know the director. And you're going to meet Jesus now, but you're going to go down there and you're going to get your life cleaned up. You're going to get immersed in the Word. Things are going to happen in your life." And so the next day, he's going to Teen Challenge. You know who drove him down there? His mom. But not just his mom, his wife. His wife drove him down there with the mother and said, "Danny, me and the kids will be waiting for you when you graduate." Guy stayed there for a year. I remember we corresponded in letters. I went down there actually one time to speak. And guess what? Jesus radically changed this guy's life. Not because he needed a crutch, because he needed life support. He needed resurrection. He needed change. And he wasn't on top of the world. He had lost everything. He lost his job. He lost his wife. He lost his kids. They actually arrested him, came to get him. They could have arrested him any other time in the day, but they decided to arrest him in front of his son's baseball game. They came out and arrested him. Now, I'm not saying that's the best thing to do, but that's when they did it. Any act of humiliating him that they could possibly do, he was completely humiliated. But at the end of the day, God came. He opened his heart. He said, "What I really need is I need Jesus. He's the only thing. He's the only person I can think of that I could possibly go to." Today, this guy, Danny, he has sent hundreds of people to drug and rehab programs. He is now works for the sheriff's department. He's the chaplain of the jail there. He has helped hundreds of people. He testifies about what Jesus did in his life all the time. Everywhere he goes, he tells people what Jesus did. In fact, I was talking to somebody, actually it was Joseph Murray, who used to be with us, and he wrote me the other day, texted me, he goes, "Hey, do you know this guy Danny?" And I go, "Yeah." I said, I don't know, 9 years ago, I sent him down to Teen Challenge. And he goes, "You were the guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was the guy, but actually Jesus was the guy."